Varya stood on the high stage with her chin lifted, her silver robe shining under the hall's blue lights. She was the youngest royal of the Valeri Empire, just 21 years old, and already carried the pride of her people like a crown, her golden eyes scanned the large gathering hall filled with leaders, scientists, and officers from across the stars. Beside her, Loder Valeri nobles whispered softly, watching as the human guests stepped forward. They had come from Earth to celebrate a joint achievement between humans and the Valerian energy bridge built to connect both worlds. The humans had sent their best engineers, and among them was Aaron. Aaron didn't look like much, at least not in the eyes of the Valeri. He wore a simple, dark blue jumpsuit. His brown hair was messy, and he had a tool belt around his waist. While the others stood stiff and proud, Aaron's hands stayed relaxed at his sides. But he had played a key role in building the energy bridge. Without him, the project would have failed. Varya stepped forward to speak. Her voice rang through the hall, smooth and sharp. "Today we celebrate unity and progress," she said. "Our people and the humans have created something together. And yet," she paused, her eyes landing on Aaron, "some among us are just tools, useful for the job but not meant to stand among leaders." The words floated in the air like poison. A hush fell over the crowd. Aaron had just stepped forward to receive his medal. Now he stood still. His expression didn't change. He looked at Varya, then looked around at the silent crowd. He held the metal box in his hand, but instead of saying anything, he closed it quietly, gave a small nod to the humans behind him, and walked away. No words, no anger, just silence, and a steady walk toward the exit. For a few seconds, no one moved. Even Varya stood frozen. She hadn't expected that. She expected a protest, maybe a sharp reply, something loud, something emotional. But Aaron gave her nothing. He left the hall with quiet steps. Disappearing behind the tall doors, the rest of the ceremony continued, but the mood had changed. The air felt heavier. Speeches were shorter, and even the applause seemed weak. After it ended, Varya returned to her private chamber. She stood before a mirror, her hands clenching the edge of the sink. Why did she feel strange? She had given speeches before. She had insulted many who didn't meet her standards. But this time, it felt different. Her advisor, Lord Reiner, stood at the door. "Your Highness," he said slowly, "some believe you may have gone too far today." Varya turned sharply. "He's just a human engineer." Reiner bowed his head. "And yet he has more respect now than most of us in that room." She opened her mouth to reply, but the words wouldn't come. Meanwhile, in the lower levels of the station, Aaron sat alone in a small rest area. He drank from a metal cup and stared at the glowing floor. A few of his human teammates came too. Check on him, but he waved them off gently. "I'm fine," he said. "Let's just get ready to leave tomorrow." "You're not upset?" one asked. Aaron shrugged. "Not really. Some people talk. Others do. I'll keep doing," he meant. He didn't come for praise. He came to help. He didn't expect a medal or a smile, but he hadn't expected to be insulted in front of hundreds either. The strange part was he didn't feel angry, just tired. Back in her chamber, Varya asked Reiner, "Who is that man? Where did he come from?" "His name is Aaron Carter." Reiner replied, "He is from a city called Denver on Earth. His record is long, quiet, but full of service. He's fixed colony ships, saved people from reactor fires, and rebuilt systems after major attacks." Varya's eyes narrowed. "Why hasn't he taken a leadership post?" "He doesn't want it," Reiner said. "He turns down awards, stays in the background, but people follow him. Not because of power, but because of how he works." Varya sat down, her long robe folding around her. For the first time, she felt unsure. She had insulted someone who didn't deserve it, and worse, he didn't respond like others. He didn't shout or fight back. He walked away, and somehow, that made her feel small. The next day, whispers filled the diplomatic station like soft winds in empty halls. From the gardens to the command deck. Everyone was talking about the moment when the alien royal insulted the human ant. He said nothing, only walked away. It was a story retold again and again, growing heavier with each version. Some said the human was deeply hurt. Others believed his silence showed true strength. Few even whispered that the royal herself had been shaken. Verse stayed in her chamber. Longer than usual. She skipped the morning meeting and let her robes hang untouched on the wall. She looked out the wide glass window at the stars beyond. Even though she tried to forget, the moment replayed in her mind. The quiet, the stillness, the way Aaron had looked at her not with anger, but with something deeper. Disappointment. Lord Reiner entered quietly and bowed. Ambassador Sala from Earth is asking to speak with you. Varya nodded. Send her in. Sala was a middle-aged human woman with a calm smile and tired eyes. She walked in and gave a respectful bow. Your Highness, Ambassador, Varya said flatly. I won't stay long, Sala said, her voice gentle. But I came to speak about yesterday. Varya folded her hands. Are you here to ask for an apology? Sala shook her head. No, Aaron doesn't want one, he told us not to make a scene. Said he'd rather focus on the mission and leave quietly. Varya blinked. He really said that? Yes, Sala replied. But I wanted to say something anyway. Not for him, but for you. Varya leaned back, unsure how to respond. Sometimes. Silence is a lesson, Sala said softly. You spoke with pride. He responded with none. Now the whole station is talking about him. Varya didn't speak. Her eyes lowered. That kind of silence, Sala added, doesn't come from weakness. It comes from knowing your worth. After she left, Varya stayed alone in her room for a long time. She didn't eat. She didn't dress. She simply sat thinking. Later that afternoon, she went down to the lower hangars, where the human engineers worked. The place was noisy, machines moving, people shouting, sparks flying from open panels. She walked quietly, unnoticed at first. She spotted Aaron near a half-open control console. He was wearing a grease-stained shirt and adjusting wires with focused hands. Nearby, two younger engineers waited for his signal. Try the left relay, he said calmly. Then power the circuit halfway. Yes, sir, they replied. Varya watched for a while. No one saluted him. No one bowed, yet they followed his voice with trust. She stepped forward. Aaron noticed her but didn't stop working. Your Highness, may I speak with you? She asked. He finished, tightening a bolt before turning to her. His face was calm, unreadable. Sure, he said. Walk with me. They walked side by side through the metal corridors of the engineering level. Sparks and steam hissed in the background. Wasn't a royal hall, but it felt more alive. I've been thinking, Varya said slowly, about what happened yesterday. Aaron stayed silent. I want to say, I didn't mean to make you feel less, she added. Aaron stopped walking and turned toward her. You didn't make me feel less, Princess. You made yourself look smaller. She blinked, surprised by the honesty. I don't need titles or praise, he said, but I won't be looked down on for doing my job, especially not by someone who doesn't know me. Varya opened her mouth, but the words wouldn't come. I've worked with aliens who treated me like family, Aaron continued. And I've worked with humans who ignored me. I don't judge by species or rank, I judge by action. He turned to walk away again, just like the day before. This time, Varya reached out not with her hand, but with her voice. Wait. Stopped. I want to understand, she said. Not as a royal, as someone who wants to do better. He turned slowly and looked at her, his expression softening just a little. Then listen, he said simply. Listen to the people you walk past every day. Talk to the ones you never noticed. Maybe then you'll see what real worth looks like. Varya nodded, her voice quiet. I will. That evening, back in her room, she removed her royal robe and put on a plain silver outfit. No crown, no guards. Just her. She walked through the station's lower decks again, this time not to find Aaron. She stopped at the maintenance room and spoke to a young Valeri janitor who was fixing a broken cleaning drone. She listened as he explained how the machines worked. She visited the dining hall and asked the kitchen workers what foods humans liked best. She sat with a small group of alien engineers from a desert moon and asked about their challenges with gravity systems. The station staff watched in surprise. The young royal who once looked down from her tower is now among them, and somewhere in the corner, Aaron saw it too. He didn't smile or nod, but inside he knew something had shifted. Alarms broke the silence of the diplomatic station. Flashing red lights filled the halls. Voices echoed through the communication panels. People ran to their posts as the entire station shook slightly under an unknown force. In the command center, officers shouted for status reports. A nearby cargo ship, the Darinis, was drifting. It lost engine control and was slowly being pulled by the nearby planet's gravity. The ship carried over 200 passengers, many of them Valeri diplomats and civilians. If it wasn't rescued quickly, it would fall into the atmosphere and burn. Main thrusters offline, said one officer. Emergency controls unresponsive. Rescue teams are preparing shuttles, another replied. Varia rushed into the control room, her eyes wide. How much time do we have? Less than an hour, the chief replied. We're trying to form a tow line, but none of our current ships are strong enough. She looked at the screen, showing the Darinis. Spun slowly, powerless. What about the human side? She asked. No answer yet. They're working on it too. Just then, someone burst into the room. It was Lord Reiner. Your Highness. Aaron Carter just launched a shuttle, alone, she asked. Ariane nodded. Yes, without waiting for orders. Varia's heart jumped. Meanwhile, Aaron was flying. Through the open space in a small, fast shuttle packed with emergency equipment. He wore a suit patched together with different colors, one piece human tech, the other Valeri. He had designed it himself after years of mixed system missions. As he neared the Darinis, the ship's slow rotation made it harder to connect. Computer, he said calmly, lock on to hull. Calculate weakest spin point. Calculating, the AI replied. His plan was simple, but dangerous. He would land on the side of the ship, climb to the emergency override port, and try to restart the ship's power manually. If the system didn't respond, the ship would break apart under gravity's stress, with him on it. But Aaron didn't think of that. He thought only of the people on board. Back in the control room, Varia watched every movement. Her hands were shaking, and she didn't try to hide it. The room was silent as everyone followed Aaron's progress. He's connecting now, said one officer. Varia whispered, come on. Inside the shuttle, Aaron opened the rear hatch and stepped into the open space. Using his boots magnets, he walked carefully across the spinning hull of the Darinis, grabbing tight whenever the spin pulled at him when he reached the override panel. He opened it and began connecting wires from his toolkit. Manual restart initiated, said the ship's AI. Warning, critical damage. Do it anyway, Aaron said. The next few minutes felt like hours. Then lights flickered inside the Darinis. Engines hummed. Main systems rebooting, said the station officer. He did it. The room exploded in cheers. Varia let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Get him back, she ordered. Send 2 escort ships to help guide the Darinis. As the cargo ship steadied and began moving back toward safe orbit, the station erupted in applause. Everyone knew who had saved them. Later, when Aaron returned to the docking bay, he stepped out of his shuttle quietly. His suit was scratched. His hands were dirty, but he was calm as always. Waiting for him was Varia. She walked up to him without guards, without royal robes, just her simple silver outfit. You could have died, she said softly. So could they. He replied. She paused. Why do you keep doing this? Even after what I said to you. Even after how others treat you. Aaron looked her in the eyes. Because doing the right thing doesn't depend on how I'm treated. It depends on what needs to be done. She stared at him, speechless. Look, he added, I didn't do it for praise. I did it because I could help, that's all. Varia nodded slowly, still. Thank you. He nodded back and walked away, toward the medical bay. This time, she didn't let his silence sting. This time it made her think more deeply. In the following days, things changed across the station. People who once looked down on human engineers started greeting them with respect. The incident with the Darrenus had changed minds not because of speeches or rules, but because of a single action. Varya spent more time visiting the human sector, not as a royal, but as someone willing to learn. She sat in on repair briefings. She listened to workers. She even tried helping fix a damaged panel under Aaron's guidance. "Hold the wire steady," said. She frowned as she fumbled with the tool. "It keeps slipping." "Then try again," he said with a small smile. "You don't learn if you give up after one mistake." She smiled back. "That's what I used to do. Give orders and walk away." "Not anymore," Aaron replied. In those small moments, something new was forming between them. Not friendship yet, not trust, but the beginning of both. And this time when Aaron walked away, Varya didn't feel small. She felt like walking with him. It had been 4 days since Aaron saved the Darrenus. 4 days since the entire station watched a single human risk his life for people who barely knew his name. Since then, everything felt different. Ver sat in the station's learning hall, beside other workers, not diplomats, not nobles, just engineers, cleaners, and staff. The instructor spoke about basic circuit repairs. Varya listened quietly, taking notes. At first, everyone stared when she walked in, but she returned each day, never acting like she was above them. And slowly, they began treating her like one of their own. That evening, Varya met Aaron near the lower hangar. He stood beside a broken supply drone, tools scattered at his feet. "Need help?" she asked. He looked up. "Sure, hand me the scanner." Picked it up and knelt beside him. "How long has this been broken?" she asked. "Since the last asteroid dust storm," he said. No one had time to fix it. Varya watched as he connected wires and scanned parts. "You're quiet today," Aaron said. "I've been thinking," she said. "I've lived my life believing that titles make someone important. But you don't carry a title. What? Everyone listens to you." Aaron didn't look up. "They don't listen to me because of what I wear. They listen because I do the work with them." "I see that now," she said. "And I want to change how I lead." Aaron finished connecting a cable and handed her a bolt. "Then start small," he said. "Change isn't about speeches. It's about what you do every day." Varya nodded. They worked together until the drone's lights blinked green. It floated off the ground and hovered smoothly. "Fixed," Aaron said, standing up and wiping his hands. "I never thought fixing machines could feel so rewarding," Varya said with a soft smile. "Welcome to our world," he replied. As days passed, their teamwork became more common. Aaron led teams during long repair missions, and Varya joined them without complaint. She lifted heavy equipment, cleaned dust filters, and listened more than she spoke. People noticed humans and Valeria alike. Whispered about the alien royal who now worked beside a human engineer like they were equals. One night, Aaron sat outside the observatory window. The stars stretched endlessly before him. Varya joined him, sitting on the bench beside him. "Do you ever miss Earth?" she asked. He nodded. "Sometimes, the mountains, the snow. Quiet mornings I've never been," she said. "Oh." "People always stayed in our own territories. We rarely traveled to human lands." "Why?" he asked. "We thought we didn't need to," she replied. "We believed we were already at the top." Aaron looked at her, and now, "I see how much we've missed," she said. They sat in silence, watching the stars. Then Varya turned to him. "When I insulted you that day, I thought I was protecting my people's pride. But I understand now. I was protecting my own fear. Fear of being seen as weak." Aaron said nothing. "But your silence that day, it made me face that fear," she said. "And I thank you for that." Aaron nodded. Sometimes silence is the only mirror people need. A soft alarm buzzed on his wristband. "What is it?" she asked. "Emergency briefing," he said. "A mission needs volunteers. Failing outposts on the edge of this sector." Varya stood with him. "Then let's go." They entered the command room where both human and Valeri leaders stood around a table. "Oxygen failure on mining outpost 47B, said the commander. The backup system collapsed. "They have about 12 hours left." Aaron stepped forward. "I'll go." "We need a team, not just one," the officer replied. Varya stepped up beside him. Lead the Valeri unit. There was silence. A few Valeri nobles looked unsure, but no one objected. Mission leaves in 1 hour, the commander said. In the shuttle hangar, Aaron and Varya checked their gear. Her hand shook slightly as she secured her suit, nervous. Little, she admitted. You'll be fine, he said. Just follow what we practiced. We do it together. They flew toward the outpost, both knowing that this wasn't just another mission. It was her first time leading side by side with a human, without hiding behind her royal name. When they landed, they moved fast. Oxygen tanks were leaking. Systems were failing. People were weak, gasping for air. Aaron led a group to the life support core. While Varya helped carry injured miners to safe zones, the hours passed like minutes. She crawled into tight spaces, pulled open panels, followed instructions, shouted across rooms. She didn't give orders, she listened. Finally, the system roared back to life. Fresh air flowed through the outpost. Cheers broke out. Lives were saved. As they flew back to the station, Varya sat quietly beside Aaron. We did it, she said, her voice tired but proud. You did it, Aaron replied. And you earned it, she turned to him. Do you still see me as that royal who insulted you? He smiled a little. I see you as the royal who decided to change. For the first time in her life, Varya felt something more powerful than pride. She felt respect, not just from others, but from herself. After returning from the mining outpost, the station felt different. Word of the mission spread quickly how the young alien royal and a human engineer worked side by side, saving dozens of lives. People across both human and Valeri sectors spoke about it with respect. For Varya, it was no longer about proving herself. She had found something deeper: purpose, connection, growth. But not everyone liked the change. In the upper chambers of the Valeri Council, elder nobles whispered behind closed doors, she lowers herself too much. One said, she spends more time with humans than with her own kind, another added. The people talk of her like she's one of them, said a third, frowning. Perhaps. One elder said quietly, she needs a reminder of who she is. Meanwhile, in the lower repair hangar, Aaron was helping fix a docking clamp. He wore his usual jumpsuit, stained with oil and dust. His sleeves were rolled up, and sweat clung to his neck. He worked without complaint, focused and steady. Varya walked in, dressed in her simple silver suit. She carried 2 water packs and handed one to him. Thanks, he said, taking a sip. You've been working since dawn. She said, so have you, he replied. They sat together on a supply crate. For a while, they watched the crew move equipment and check systems. I heard the council isn't happy. Aaron said. Varya nodded. They want me to act like a royal again, give speeches, wear the robes, stop helping with repairs. Out. Will you do? He asked. She looked at him. I don't want to go back to being someone who only watches. I've learned more here with you and your team than I ever did in royal training. Aaron nodded. Then keep walking your path. If they don't like it, that's what I plan to do, she said, but trouble was already forming the next day. Varya was summoned to the high chamber. The elders stood in a circle, their expressions cold and firm. You are not here to serve as a worker, one said. You are a symbol of our empire. You've become too close to humans, another added. It weakens your image. Varya raised her chin. Being close to them has made me stronger, not weaker. You will cut ties with that engineer, one of them ordered. At once. Varya felt something twist in her chest, but she stayed calm. No, she said clearly. Gasps echoed around the chamber. You forget your place, shouted one elder. No, she replied firmly. And I won't return to the old way just because it's comfortable for you? They tried to argue, but she walked away before they could finish. She didn't shout.
Oh, she didn't.
Plead. She just walked away, like Aaron had done before. Outside the chamber, her hands trembled slightly. She had just stood against her own counsel. She didn't know what it would lead to. Later that night, Varya met Aaron in the garden section of the station. Glowing plants from alien worlds lit up the path. You stood up to your own people, he said after she told him everything. I had to, she replied. I couldn't pretend anymore. Aaron looked at her for a long moment. You've come far, she smiled. Thanks to you. Suddenly, an emergency alert blinked on their wrist devices. Warning: unidentified object approaching station. Possible threat within minutes. The command center was full. Both human and Valeri leaders stood around the holographic display. The object moved fast, dark, and unmarked. It wasn't answering any hails. Can we stop it? Varia asked. Not with the station defenses alone, the commander said. Then let me take a team, Aaron said. We can intercept. You can't go alone, Varia added. I'm going with you. They launched in a fast escort ship, flying toward the dark object. It was big, much larger than expected. A strange shape, built from parts of many known and unknown ships, as they neared it. The sensors picked up signs of life but no clear signals. It's patched together. From old war tech, Aaron said. Someone doesn't want to be found. Varia's face grew serious. Or someone wants to send a message. When they tried to scan the power source, a blast of energy hit their ship. Alarm screamed. Shields down to 60. Shouted the pilot. Aaron jumped to the control seat. Hold course. Divert power to side engines. Varia leaned forward. We need to board that thing and shut it down from the inside. Risky, Aaron said. But I agree. They suited up, grabbed it, their tools and weapons, and entered a small boarding pod as they landed inside the dark ship. Lights flickered and air hissed. Strange cables hung from the ceiling, and damaged control panels sparked around them. Stay close, Aaron said. They moved through the corridors. Searching for the core, suddenly, they found something unexpected: prison cells. Inside were aliens, from different species, scared and weak. Someone had been capturing them, hiding them inside this ghost ship. Varia opened a cell and helped a small alien child out. We have to free them all, she said. Aaron nodded. But first, we stopped the ship. They reached the main control room. Strange symbols covered the walls. But Aaron quickly located the power systems. I can overload the drive and shut it down, he said. How long? Varia asked. 10 minutes. Hold the door, she said, pulling out her plasma blade as he worked. Strange sounds echoed from the dark halls. Figures moved. Whoever built this ship was still on board. Varia stood firm at the door. Ready to face what came, Aaron didn't look up as he connected wires and rewrote the core code. Just a little longer. Outside. Outside, Varia faced the approaching danger. This time, she didn't insult. She didn't hide, she protected. Varia stood at the heavy metal door, her plasma blade glowing softly in the dim light. Footsteps echoed down the dark corridor, growing louder with each heartbeat. She gripped her blade tighter, ready for whatever would come. Inside the control room, Aaron worked quickly. Wires sparked and panels flickered as he rewrote the core's code. His fingers moved with steady confidence, but the tension was clear in his eyes. Almost done, he whispered. Varia heard the footsteps stop just outside the door. A low growl filled the air. Several shadowy figures appeared in the corridor. Moving fast, she stepped forward, her blade flashing as she met the first attacker. The fight was fierce. Varia moved with skill she had learned through hard work, not royal training. Every strike counted. Every block saved her. Behind the door, Aaron finished the last sequence. Core override complete, the ship's AI said. Power systems began shutting down. Lights dimmed. Engines slowed. Get ready, Aaron called through. The cum.veria held off the attackers as the doors locked, released with a hiss. She kicked the door open and slipped inside. Just as the figures broke through behind her, Aaron grabbed her arm. Time to go. They ran through the twisting corridors as the ship trembled. Explosions echoed as the power failed. They reached the boarding pod just in time. Varia helped the freed aliens inside, who looked at her with hope and gratitude. Launch, Aaron shouted. The pod shot out of the dark ship, just before it exploded in a fiery blast that lit the stars back on the station. The rescued aliens were treated and cared for. Varya and Aaron stood side by side as the council and commanders thanked them. Varya finally spoke to the council, her voice strong. Today we faced danger together. Humans, Valeri, and many others. Strength comes not from titles or pride, but from action and respect. She looked at Aaron. And I learned this from a human who walked away without a word when insulted. His silence was stronger than any speech. Council murmured. Some nodded, others looked thoughtful. Aaron smiled quietly. Thank you, Your Highness. Varya smiled back. No, thank you. Their story spread throughout the galaxy, a tale of pride, silence, courage, and respect. Varya and Aaron continued to work together, leading not by orders, but by example. Their friendship grew stronger with every challenge. The alien royal who, once insulted, a human had changed. And the human who walked away without a word had shown the galaxy the true meaning of strength. And so, a new chapter began for two worlds, united by respect and the power of quiet courage.